Hello and welcome to the shop. I'm Jared and this is the Questionable Garage. And as you can tell by the stinger or whatever title and thumbnail you ended up getting served, was not a fun week last week. But at the end of the day, everyone came out of it unhurt, so that's what matters. For context, if you haven't connected the dots of the stinger and title or thumbnail that you saw, had someone make an illegal left turn in front of us. He came right out of a turn lane and we hit him. Did everything we could to stop, minimized damage to the people, but the Escalade looks like it took a pretty good hit. So we are going to take a look at that. Also, all of you EV1 people, that schedule got bumped up a whole lot quicker. I'm actually traveling this week for a follow-up. We thought we were going to have months in between, but we are going to have some really exciting EV1 news coming up a lot sooner than expected. Also, spoiler for the end of the episode, you GM obscure electric vehicle hybrid vehicle people, stay tuned. This episode took a really unexpected turn, let me tell you. Kind of like the guy in the caravan turning right in front of me. That was unexpected. So yeah, I guess, sometimes you just really can't count on life to go easy or how you're planning on things to go for you that day or week or month. But you know who you can count on? Today's sponsor, Raycon, and their everyday essential open earbuds. Now, we got the holidays rolling in, which means you probably have some travel coming up. The essential open earbuds are perfect for it. I just got done with a week-long trip, and they were with me every step of the way. From sitting in the terminal, a 5-hour flight out, using them each night for some YouTube and music to fall asleep to, which they stayed on my ears through the night, kind of impressive. And then the 5-hour flight home on one case charge. Now, you've heard me talk a ton about Raycon, and that's because I really love their products. They've got something that's going to fit pretty much every ear type. I get it, not everyone loves things put in their ears, and the Raycon Essential Open Earbuds are perfect if you're in an environment that you have to hear what's going on around you. Let's say you're cooking dinner and Uncle George is coming up to tell you about his bunion for the 4th time. I know you'd rather tune him out with some active noise canceling, but you gotta pay a little bit of attention. Bunions, you got stories to listen to. Seriously, you keep hearing me talk about Raycon because I really do love their product line. They've got a product that's gonna fit what you need and what you like to wear, and the best part is, it's gonna sound good whatever you pick. And with Black Friday right around the corner, Raycon audio products are up to 30% off site-wide. From the Essentials open ear earbuds, to the earphones, to the traditionals, everything site-wide is up to 30% off when you head on over to buyraycon.com/questionableopen and use code questionableopen during checkout. That's gonna unlock up to 30% off site-wide. Plus, when you use that link for your purchases, you're helping support the channel and you are really gonna enjoy it. And if somehow you don't, they have a 30-day happiness guarantee to make sure you get a product you are going to enjoy. Again, head on over to buyraycon.com/questionableopen and use code questionableopen. Up to 30% off the entire website. Everything. There's a big website to get your own earbuds and get the entire family a Christmas present. Seriously, go do it. I mean, just look how cool they are. Thank you again to Raycon for sponsoring this episode, and let's get back to just how everything else has been difficult lately. We do need to go outside and take a look and see just potentially what is wrong with the Escalade. I've really not looked close. I've not wanted to go looking. So let me pick you guys up and we'll go outside and take a look. Pretty much all we've done is, after the night of the accident, we put it on a trailer and it's been sitting in the front, and I've just not wanted to look at it. I've been waiting for the accident report. Unfortunately, the driver that hit us did not speak good English or really any English, so we couldn't ask and get him to give us his insurance information. Don't make negative comments. He was fully insured, licensed. Like, we don't need crap in the comments, but just we couldn't communicate to get the card from him so I could file a claim, a week ago. And then unfortunately, the trooper said they're not allowed to directly give me that information. So I had to wait, pay $5 for an accident report, finally get a hold of his insurance company, and we're waiting for an adjuster. And I've not really looked at the Escalade because it makes me sad. I loved our puppy wagon, and it is hit in just the right worst possible way. We crunched, as you can tell, you know, his tire, that's where it happened, right in there. We've got our fenders in our brand new tire. We now have a lot more camber in that tire too. You know, all of that is brand new, now it's crunched. I don't even know what hit here. This fender shoved back a good bit. I will say though, the hood popped, no problem. It popped on release. The reason we popped it is we wanted to check and see how the battery looked. We didn't want it to be a dead short. So cue Ted from the movies, like, he'll take care of me, all right? But the big thing we wanted to double check is this battery has kind of gotten pushed in and introduced, and that positive terminal lives right there. It's still fully insulated and it's only touching plastic, so we were okay with not trying to get to it and keep it as intact. Core support, somehow none of our radiators broke, which is good. Look down here, this ECU box, that's crunched really good. You can see there how much that bracket actually moved in the accident too against the firewall. Curious about that axle. So it's it's focusing on everything here, but if you look straight down at that front axle, because it's lowered, it goes up, but now it also goes back, which means that suspension's crunched. Kind of depressing to see. The wheel liner's out of it. That's in the back of the truck right now. My poor brand new Nitto Motivo. I didn't even get to drive them enough to get my real content shot on them. There's the bumper support. Let's crawl underneath. What do we see? Well, technically, I believe that bit of the frame is not supposed to be quite that bent. You can kind of tell with the broken undercoating. Not major, but that could get hammered straight. That's no big deal. What do you see? You guys see anything jumping out back there in the suspension? Yeah, I kind of see that too. Maybe not that other thing though. Honestly, I'm just making words, but I'm not quite sure what we're going to be trying to do. We can't tear it down yet to see too much. What I'm trying to get you to see are those flexible brake lines. There we go. And it's kind of hard to see, but right there on the left. Oh, that braided line's now damaged. So yeah, you know, we don't know how deep all of the damage is going to end up going until we can fully tear her down. Couldn't do any of that until we had insurance out, which love this truck. It's a really good truck, good value. Was perfect for the dogs. Now we have to wait. But I will tell you this, maybe some of you guys have experienced it. If you owned a vehicle that has an LS, especially, you know, one that, you know, is as good as that one, fresh heads and all of your friends, they're going to reenact the Finding Nemo seagulls. Most of them are going to make sure you're okay, but just about everyone is going to be like, so what are you doing with that engine? Hopefully fixing the truck. But that also left me in the position, in the meantime, I needed something to drive to daily. You know, the Hellcat's fun, the Duster's fun, but the dogs don't fit well in it. And I kind of, you know, sometimes want to be lazy. So the smart thing to do would be buy another one of these or just anything. So a perfect, good running vehicle. But I didn't do that. I bought something that even Tyler Hoover of Hoovy's Garage, the Hoopty King, wouldn't have bought, and said, I must really hate myself for buying. So that may leave you guys asking, Jared, what did you do? I bought that. I am now the proud owner of a broken 2009 Chevy Tahoe Hybrid. It was GM's attempt to make a giant SUV sip a little bit more on the gas rather than just chug it. Back when GM first started engineering this thing, gas prices were soaring to new heights, $4 or $5 a gallon. Now I know that's kind of normal now, but in the early 2000s, it was getting extreme. The economy was booming, everyone wanted big SUVs. So to better suit clientele's desires of big SUVs, cracking down environmental concerns, and just making a smaller impact on your wallet, GM set about making a hybrid full-sized SUV. But as GM has managed to do time and time again, EV1, they create a perfect solution to a problem that no longer exists or gets the rug pulled out from underneath them. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you're young enough not to know, I think most of you guys experienced it. Right about 2008, the economy kind of went, like hard fall, and gas prices kind of plummeted right alongside it. So you now have a premium SUV with an additional cost on top of it to get a hybrid to save gas that was no longer as expensive anymore. So it just did not find many buyers. Now, during some of the early generation hybrid development, a lot of the companies work together, and you actually get a fair bit of borrowed technology from Toyota going into the Tahoe. One of the biggest parts is the Atkinson's valving cycle. It uses the variable valve timing with its LFA 6-liter all-aluminum LS basic infrastructure engine to maximize efficiency, reduce emissions, and make a fairly seamless integration with that hybrid power as well.
You see this thing says hybrid? This is the inverter. You're not gonna see this under the hood of every Tahoe. This has the responsibility for turning 300 volt DC into AC voltage and stepping it down to both the 12 volt systems and all of the other voltage requirements that you have in a hybrid electric vehicle. You can't get these anymore. So if this goes bad, I have one really modern, very expensive lawn ornament. Very expensive lawn ornament.
Now, a lot of times when you fall into the hybrid category, you lose a little bit of the trucky nature of an SUV, but you didn't lose all of it with the Tahoe. It actually managed to retain, in the two-wheel drive configuration like I got, a 6,000-pound towing capacity. That's not going to break any record, but for a full-sized SUV, it is a very respectable number. And with the two-mode hybrid system, one of the biggest gas savings comes from really one of the original start-stops.
This is where you would have a power steering pump or an alternator. All of that's electric, because on this Tahoe, you can go up to 25 miles an hour without the engine running.
It's just a giant golf cart before firing up the gasoline engine.
This is your two-mode hybrid mechanical transmission. You have electric motors living there, you got mechanical traditional transmissions living here, and they all work together like a partially functional couple that, even though they're divorced, co-parents perfectly and manages your torque all the way out to your rear wheels.
Now, a hybrid battery is quite unique compared to an electric car battery. Robert Dunn spoke a little bit about this as he was developing his Escape dual motor racing Ford thing with the Tesla motors, and why he was leaning towards a hybrid battery. Hybrid batteries rapidly charge and discharge back and forth versus the electric car batteries, which have a slightly slower charge and discharge rate. And that boils down to just the demands of both vehicles being so drastically different. And with really intelligent packing, GM again shoved that battery under the second row of seats, so you really lost no interior space.
Under your passenger's butt, 300 volts of battery. Also, it's kind of interesting, is the cooling fan inlet there. You gotta make sure that stays clear. So it's not uncommon driving the vehicle, even if you have your AC off, you hear a little fan whirring back there, blowing air over that battery.
Now, something else that is kind of a fun thing to consider, and you guys might want to look out for one of these broken hybrids out on the market if you fancy yourself a hot rod Tahoe. These things ended up trimming a lot of weight off of them, and some of them came in underweight compared to its standard fully optioned rivals.
In an effort to make this the most fuel efficient Tahoe possible, you have a unique front bumper, extra low ground valence, less holes,
and an aluminum hood with only one hood strut, because clearly 2 struts would be just too much weight. You also have these super ultra lightweight aluminum wheels that save a surprisingly large amount of weight just in rotational mass alone. And in further weight savings, you don't get a spare tire. Pretty standard on most cars today, but it was relatively new there. Certain markets you did get a compact spare, but most of them shipped no spare tire at all. That means you need to have your roadside assist guys on speed dial if you are going through construction zones or inclined to pick up a nail or two. So while there's no clear-cut numbers out there, there's estimates of less than 10,000 of these existing in the wild because, again, as GM does, they created the perfect solution to a problem that just no longer existed. And that also means you can't get parts for them. So now that you know what it is I bought, why? I don't know. I always thought they were cool. I'm not an electric car guy. I'm kind of been thrust into the GM electric car world between the S10 and the EV1, but I have always felt like a hybrid is the perfect solution for most people if you wanted to make any type of meaningful impact. More people are willing to drive a hybrid because there's no range anxiety because you're bringing a generator with you. And for some reason, I like obscure, rare things. So there it was. It was sitting there. It had been sitting at a neighbor's shop for a while, flat tires, and I kept looking at it going, man, I should stop and ask about it. And then we had the Escalade get hit, so I stopped and asked about it, and it was broken. Wouldn't go over 20 miles an hour, and the now off cluster had more lights on it than a Rockefeller Christmas tree. It was in a bad way, and I still bought it. So after plugging in my top-down scanner, my Art Diag Pro, doing a full system diagnosis, the big ones were our motor and inverters are overheating, which, generally speaking, are going to be related to the current wire, your wires, the bright orange ones. You have to take all of it apart, clean it, put it back together, and hopefully it works. And our battery was way out of balance. All of our cells were all over the place. So we were looking like we needed to rebuild or repair the battery. That's as far as I looked. I shared that information with who I bought the truck with and just saying, hey, here's the codes. Here's the scope of what could be. And I told them we could be looking at a couple hours fix, or we could look at a totaled vehicle. I didn't know. We laid it all out. Now, to really make things clear when it comes to these trucks, the batteries can be rebuilt. They share a lot of components with the Prius hybrid. Not a big deal on a battery. Time and money is the biggest thing there. Inverters will total the truck. A transmission will total the truck. The most valuable thing is the LFA 6-liter V8 that you could sell for about $1,000 less than I bought the truck for. It's a lifestyle choice, buying things like this. And I was honestly quite shocked when I got that reply from Tyler, essentially making it clear that a hybrid Tahoe is even too much hoopty for him. Well, before we get too much into working on this, I say let's go ahead and clean it out. Now, Randy, who I bought it from, was willing to clean everything out. I told him just grab what was important, because I kind of felt like, buying a broken used car, sure, having it clean would be nice, but also I can clean it. I do have a dumpster right there. So some of the treasures we've got. So this seat's in pretty decent shape. A little bit of tear from sliding in and out. I'm adding to it. Every generation Tahoe, or this generation Tahoe, has that exact same elbow wear and the cracked dash. That's just what they all do. But I did find a Mean Girls DVD. I think every woman that's kind of born in the same year as me probably owns that. I need to find a Jeep to rehome that. Ignition coil on the floor. Brand new ignition parts can be slightly alarming. I will also say the smell of the truck, I mean, honestly, it's just like a minivan. Anyone who's gotten into a family minivan, that smell. It's not dirty diaper, but it's kind of like a dirty diaper. That's what we got. Carpets, they should clean pretty nicely. I got some water bottles, throw away. What about in the kid cavities? I think those are either hair braids or braces. Not sure which. Anyone know what game that's to? I mean, you did use 6-sided and some D&D. I mean, all in all, though, this thing is really quite clean. Come around to the back. Again, same thing, just we got a paint match pen, I think. Probably won't use that cable. They're not that expensive. Got power port. Oh. That might be the source of the smell. Is that really what I think it is? Yeah, if you think something is horribly congealed milk and formula, don't scratch and sniff. That's what I got. So I'm gonna throw the trash out, and then we'll bring it a little bit closer and see if we can't make this thing work. I thought it was a COVID mask. It's not new. Good news, I think we can get the smell out of it. But I'm gonna go inside and get some gloves. Wash my hands a lot. I will remind you, questionable garage, not stupid, and I have to get miles on this thing going down the road to kind of diagnose out the hybrid overheating. And yeah, she's corded, multiple nails in that, 3 patches, plugs in that, 2 nails in that, and that one's corded as well. So I felt like it was kind of dumb to drive around on those tires, and I could have put used on, but I put Michelin's on it. 2 reasons. Those are the high weight EV rated, and 2, a set of the ultra lightweight Tahoe rims with brand new Michelin's are going to sell for at least what I paid for the Michelin. So if it's an unfixable truck, we haven't lost any money yet. But I'm gonna get some TPMS sensors programmed. We're gonna start putting more miles on this thing. Try to get that overheating figured out and our battery figured out. I probably should have just bought something that works, considering I have a road trip. I think about 1,600 miles round trip in a couple days. And I'm planning on taking the Tahoe. So with the title in hand, I cleared all the codes. I took it for a drive. All right, so we've got all the codes cleared. It's still setting a steering fault because we haven't been able to, there we go, run the relearn. But I'm curious to see. So the problem is the inverter or the motor is indeed overheating, which could be quite a few small things. It could be as simple as a blocked duct, low coolant. I don't know. There's not a lot of information on these things, but right now, before it having a chance to overheat, it's going down the road, which means maybe my gamble wasn't as catastrophic as it could have been. Basically, in my head, it was, I'm buying a really fancy 6-liter LS, but I maybe bought the bizarre, obscure GM SUV of my dreams. I don't know why I've always wanted one of these things. I really always looked and kind of been keen on buying one, but it never worked out, and it may have worked out. Listen, I love my Escalade. I'm gonna miss the extra 3 feet, but maybe the Puppy Hauler 2.0 is gonna be perfect once I add washer fluid and figure out why it's overheating. And then we went back into limp mode on the way back to the shop, and we had all of our codes back right away, and we were overheating. All right, so we did a drive, and it was all good, and then it started to act up when we started getting close. My top down was being a little angry, so I've got an Autel, and we're getting some weird temperature stuff. So talking with my friend Dirty Panda, he was insistent cooling system problem. Also, I'm gonna link him down below. Really awesome videographer, does some really cool drag racing stuff. He said check the cooling system, and then I started thinking and put together the fact that this engine, I learned after negotiating and kind of talking everything through, it had a cam and lifter failure, as LSs seem to do a lot nowadays. And it had just had all that work done, and several days later started acting up. So once again, he was telling me, check the cooling systems. And if we come and check this one, that's firm, full. You can tell, completely full. This is our hybrid system. Not very full. So we're gonna get some coolant in there and see if we can get the temperatures down, the battery system down, and behaving. Also, I have that Autel because I was trying to get the steering calibration to work, and it's nothing is calibrating. We'll figure that out later, but let's see if we can get our inverter and transmission under control. We've got a gallon, and we're still burping a ton of air out of that system. Of course, it's slowed down. There's one. Slowed down in the moment. Oh, there's some more. Now, bubbles out of your hybrid system, you don't have to worry about it being a blown head gasket. It's just air being pushed out. So maybe it paid off. Regardless, it's a heck of a vehicle. So I put 2 gallons of coolant in it, and it fixed the overheating. For now, there is always the chance that there's a looming major problem with it. My battery still is very imbalanced. I've got to drive it some more. It's been sitting so much, it might charge back. I suspect we're going to have a follow-up video rebuilding a hybrid battery in a Chevy Tahoe. That's just, my gut is telling me that. But for now, our LFA engine is running, our hybrid system isn't overheating, so we're gonna get back outside, let's get this thing cleaned up, and on to some driving duties. So one thing, because of this low valence, it sees the curb a lot, sadly, and it's really chewed up. And I'd kind of, like to start fresh to know if I'm screwing up. You can come at it with a razor blade, but if you do any metal fab, you're gonna have one of these deburring tools, and I love it because it kind of hooks the edge, and you have a nice handle to pull along to cut this plastic and get it kind of back to a nice fresh-ish edge. It's not gonna look brand new. Also, like here where it's fully cut through, just kind of work, find all the wrinkles, and just get in there and cut it out.
And how much you take off, it's up to you. Now, I know some of you may have panicked when I was pressure washing around the engine bay. It was mostly just the perimeter, the hood. We're gonna have to come back and wipe it by hand. Avoided any absolute direct blasts onto our hybrid components, but they are resistant to weather. So like these orange cables, you can touch, you just need to be careful about them. You know, don't just blindly go yanking around on them, but gently wiping them down on the outside, that's okay. And don't aim your pressure washer right into it. Probably would be okay, but I would strongly, strongly advise against that. Also, we're missing an engine cover, but I found one on the auction site. And it's due in, I think, the day before my road trip, so we won't have it in the video, but I have to go through a couple towels. Well, it's really not too dirty in here. Look how much better that looks. No fake dressings, just a little bit of elbow grease. I could work those cables more, but I don't want to. So we're gonna wipe everything down and then get the interior cleaned. It's got carpet. It's a long day, and I tolerate cleaning cars because I like a clean car. I don't like cleaning cars. I like making things fast. First thing you do is go visit your friends, and oh, it just fired up. I was going to show you how much fun I was enjoying the golf cart mode, just driving around on electric, but we needed to fire it up. Now, in my first big drive where we went 5 miles, it did set a code for the hybrid battery variants, so there's a chance it's just sat long enough that they're a little bit low and it'll come back. So I'm gonna get some miles on it and see, but there's also a really good chance we're gonna be pulling a hybrid battery, taking it apart and rebuilding it, so we'll see. I love the sound it makes. It really just kind of sounds like a spaceship. It's kind of a fun little display. I don't know if there's one that shows average fuel economy like the Prius had. Well, that's a fun little display. Hybrid power. All that energy we saved getting down the hill, we're pumping it back in to get up the hill. Some beautiful country back roads. I opted for this drive instead of the heavy traffic area, just in case we do go into full limp mode again. I don't think I'm going to run into any major traffic here, so it's the best part to be stuck going 15 or 20 miles an hour. Well, we don't have our new tire pressure sensors or tires yet, but I've been putting some miles on her, and that's come back again. Small good news, we're not overheating anymore. What we are getting is a variation code. Battery pack variation too high. Could again just be it sat too long, but I reran a data log and we've got a lot of varying voltages. What I wanted to kind of show, you can see in this line, you should only see clearly one line, but the fact that we have that black line, battery 2, so you see one cell is at 13.7 volts, and we have a 14.1 and a 13.9. So the 13.9 to 14.1, that's borderline okay, but the fact we got one cell dropping all the way down to 13.7 volts means it's getting weak and out of whack and probably is going to find itself needing a replacement. So we're going to monitor. It may get better because, again, the truck had been sitting a really long time. But of all of the problems it might have, if all I need to do is rebuild a battery, we're doing really good because, again, trans motors and inverters, and it's kind of a death sentence. So let's hope we don't have either of those. We're crossing our fingers. I'm surprised it's worked out that we just needed some coolant for now. Again, like we looked at, we still get that battery variance code. I am a little worried we'll be going into that. You can buy a full set of reconditioned modules for about $2,400.
So we might be having a follow-up rebuilding the battery pack, but for right now, I'm gonna enjoy it. I don't have an answer, like a real one, why I really wanted an obscure hybrid that you can't buy parts for, but I really wanted it. I've got one, and we're still waiting for the final call on the Escalade. I don't know if we'll do an unpractical thing and rebuild it, or if it's gone, we'll buy it back, maybe save an engine. I'll call all my little seagull friends that are jumping up going, mine. But for now, we got the car. Real test in a couple days. Next episode you guys are gonna see is on the EV1. Life's unexpected. You don't know what's gonna happen. Did not expect to get in an accident and end up with another weird electric vehicle, half electric vehicle from GM, but hey, it keeps things consistent. EV1, Tahoe Hybrid, EV1. So then we'll get back to more things. We have a dyno date very soon, finally, for that. The channel regulars know exactly what that is, but hopefully some of you EV guys will stick around and see why that weird car pickup is so cool. But that's gonna do it for today. I'm Jared, reminding you guys to always make questionable choices, and sometimes gambles pay off, but avoid gambling. It's just another way to take your money and pretend that you're getting some more. So stop it. It's an epidemic. We don't need that. We'll see you next time.